All right, so here we go. Yes, Starfield keeps getting better, but there's also problems we have to talk about today. So we just got a fresh new patch update for Starfield that is live right now. Go get it. It addresses some crucial issues, but also enhances the performance of the game. And despite the recent updates, somehow Starfield's Steam rating has dropped below Fallout 76, making it Bethesda's lowest rated game ever, at least for now. So what's really going on here? Let's take a look at some of the most recent reviews from the Starfield community to get some insight here. And the Starfield versus Cyberpunk comparisons are really starting to ruffle some feathers. Here's why. And while Starfield seems to be quite divisive among Bethesda fans, the updated sales projections are going to absolutely blow your mind. And here's a message to reviewers and YouTubers who can't comprehend, wait, why are you still playing Starfield? Well, here's the answer and critical feedback from the community to make this game even better going forward. But yeah, let's start out right here, shall we? It says this from Bethesda Game Studio official. It says a small update for Starfield has just been released, addressing issues with performance and stability, as well as a few general gameplay issues. Thank you all for your continued feedback and love for Starfield. Let's get into some of those patch notes right here. And this is only the beginning, because we are going to be getting further updates to the game as well. But it says this right here. Yes, we have general updates to characters, fix an issue that could cause some characters to not be in their proper locations. Star stations, fix an issue where star stations would be labeled as player-owned ships. And then vendors, address an issue that allowed for vendors' full inventory to be accessible. So that no longer will be the case. That exploit is now gone. Some of you will be like, no. But then we have graphics. AMD PC resolved an issue that caused star lens flares not to appear correctly on AMD GPUs. And then graphics, it says address upscaling issue that could cause textures to become blurry. And then for graphics, they also resolved an issue that could cause photosensitivity issues. Okay, so that's good. And then performance and stability for the hand scanner. They address an issue where the hand scanner caused hitching. That's good news. And various stability and performance improvements to address crashing and freezes, and that is across all platforms. Now for ships, they say this, displays fixed an issue that would cause displayed items to disappear when applied to an in-ship mannequins, and also fix an issue that would cause items stored in razor leaf storage containers and weapon racks to disappear when commandeering another ship. So yeah, overall, some good fixes right there, but we are going to be getting way more in-depth updates to the game beyond more simpler performance and general fixes that we saw here. Now, this is important today. Check it out right here. Or is it? That's the question. From Culture Crave, it says Starfield rating has dropped below Fallout 76 on SteamDB. It is now the lowest rated Bethesda game ever. And a lot of people would go, ooh, that is not good whatsoever. Well, I'm going to get into some news here about that. But yeah, currently, the rating is interesting. If we scroll down here, let's take a look at exactly what's going on. So they do clarify that Fallout 76 currently is at 71.76%, and then Starfield is at 71.4% right there. So it's not like a massive dip below Fallout 76, but it does surprise me considering the state that Fallout 76 was in when it released. And in my opinion, the launch of Starfield was much smoother than Fallout 76. So yeah, let's get into some of these Steam reviews and get some insight to how some of the players are thinking currently about Starfield, because finally people are getting into like 50 hours, 100 hours, and even more, of course, because people are also working and going to college, doing all sorts of stuff with their actual active lives, and then playing Starfield. So let's get into this, shall we? So it goes on to say this right here. So here's the first one from First Captain Forex. It says, not recommended. 53.7 hours on record here, which is respectable. It says, it's honestly amazing to me that the same people who gave me the characters I liked, are known way beyond the scope of their games made this game and filled it with the absolute most bland characters I've ever seen in a game of this scale. Not a single member of Constellation is interesting. I never once cared about anything they do or are involved in, and I honestly hope at some point Sam is finally depressurized out of an airlock, and that's just the companions, never mind the actual characters in the quest. The people who the game wants you to believe are these cutthroat executives or evil space pirates are barely capable of hurting anyone, it seems. And I have heard this as one of the common complaints is the companions are just not interesting. And a lot of people wanted more of a diverse, I guess you would say, personality set for the companions. Evil companions, someone that could join you on heists and actually root for you and be a part of that experience, maybe keep the secret, that would have been really, really cool. That's just not the case here. In my personal opinion, the whole game is very, very PG-13. And I think that when you enter Neon, Crimson Fleet, that sort of thing, they should have tapped more into, I don't know, perhaps having the option to have a more mature themed approach to the game. Also in terms of companions. But a lot of people are still enjoying the game. Despite this, some people love some of the companions. Let me know how you guys are feeling. Out of all the companions, though, I do have to ask, who is your favorite? That's my biggest question. I have to say, I guess, Bosco. Bosco is currently my favorite companion in the game. He goes everywhere I go. Now, next up, we have this one right here from Zugzug, who says, not recommended. 26.2 hours on record. Come on now, you can put more time into it. Come on. Now it says, ships are completely useless. There's no space exploration. Inventory management is horrible. Multiple fast travels and loading screens are required to go anywhere. Vendors have no credit. Stealth is broken. Generated content is too similar and copy and paste. We are in the year 2300 flying across the galaxy, and every weapon in the game can be found in a shed in Arkansas today. Huge Bethesda fan, but this is a hard pass. I disagree about the weapons, by the way. I personally really love the weapons, and I do think that it is cool that they have like these older, more, I guess you would say, ancient Earth weapons that you can pick up, like an AK-47 and some of the cool pistols that you can find. Overall, though, I personally think some of the weapons are on point. However, I do hope they expand the workbench and what you can actually do with upgrading your weapons. I think that needs to be expanded going forward. I'd love to see that as part of free updates, but I can only wish and dream, of course. But yeah, this right here, I love this gun right here. Now, furthermore, we also have the inevitable Cyberpunk versus Starfield comparisons going on right now, because yes, Cyberpunk is getting its brand new expansion, which is releasing tomorrow on the 26th, Phantom Liberty. I have played it early. You can check out my review, of course, on the channel. I love it. Can't recommend it enough. Go get it. You guys are going to love it. I just know it. But yes, we have this right here. Tiger says Cyberpunk versus Starfield, game of the generation. The difference is huge. In Starfield, no damage at all, no effects, no NPC reactions. Police revamp is so bad. The AI is trash. The lack of details is absolutely ridiculous. And yeah, we do have this visual comparison. 630,000 views here on Twitter alone. Of course, you can see how there's no like bullet holes in the glass, and then in, of course, Cyberpunk, you do get that effect. Now, we got some replies, some blowback here from this. People weren't outright agreeing with this whatsoever, which I found it interesting. Check it out. Jamie says, I don't shoot boxes or puddles. But you know what? Some reviewers and critics also picked up on this thread, and they had their own choice words about it. Paul Tassi says this: it's true you are shooting at water all the time in these games. And I think the gist of what he's saying is these comparisons are pointless. Let me know if you guys are on the same page, or if this sort of detail is important to you. If you do have to have really good bullet to water physics, if that sort of thing matters. That's definitely not the first thing I look for when playing a game. Of course, it does enhance the experience. Don't get me wrong. I would prefer to be completely immersed by absolutely amazing visual effects. But I myself, I'm a bit more forgiving when it comes to this sort of thing. Not every game has to be absolutely top tier 11 out of 10 visuals. It's interesting to me because I think that if you have a really good art style and you get creative with your engine, you can actually get away with a lot of stuff. And I think that Starfield, for me personally, can actually have some visually stunning moments. As you can see, we are on fire right there. Now, we also have this news right here, which is actually pretty big and an interesting counter argument to what's going on here on the Steam review. Check it out. It says Bethesda expected to make almost $1 billion on Starfield. This is wild. So check it out. It goes on to say the following: Bethesda knew it would have a hit on its hand with Starfield. when the game finally launched, and its revenue projections for the game showed that, according to documents leaked as part of the major Xbox leak last week, Bethesda expected to make almost $1 billion in revenue on Starfield alone. That estimate comes over a 4-year span. In year 1, the company projected $600 million, followed by $215 million in year 2. Years 3 and 4 see the numbers fall a bit as the game's life cycle moves on, with the projections of $50 million and $35 million respectively. Now that also does tell me that they plan to have the bulk of their DLC and expansions perhaps release in the first 2 years, and then things will most likely really go full on with development with Elder Scrolls 6. They're going to go all hands on deck with that one. I think that's probably how it's going to go. That's my assessment of that one. Now, furthermore, it goes on to say this right here. As of publishing, Starfield has seen over 10 million players explore space. Based on that, it seems likely that Bethesda will hit those revenue expectations, even if only half of the 10 million players purchase the base $70 version of the game. That's still $350 million with post-launch support, and accounting for the deluxe editions of the game, it could be safe to assume the company will have no problems hitting the projections. We'll have to wait and see. Only time will tell. And I think those projections are going to be based off of how they actually do with free updates, and then if people actually like what's happening with the expansions. If the expansions are not well received, then that in itself is going to be an entire problem. But we kind of have a PSA here as well. You guys got to check this out. It says, for those reviewers and YouTubers who can't understand why so many are playing Starfield, the answer is simple. This one comes from Cerebral63. Hopefully I pronounced that right. It says, the game is fun. Warts and all, I'm having more fun in the game than I've had since Mech Warrior 3. Dude, that is a classic. Now it says, I've been gaming for 40 years, 50 if you count coin-op, and Starfield is as good as any of the games I've played. If nothing else, watching the response of some of these content creators really shows how little they actually remember about those old days they keep referring to. Re-jumpering IRQs to get your Sound Blaster or IDE drive working with Wing Commander. Remapping high memory to get graphics working for X-Wing. That's if it was compatible with your VGA card at all. Wow, VGA card. Now it says, bring your network down with Quake 2. SCSI issues with Carmen Sandiego. In my computer diagnostic and test tools, I actually kept a copy of both X-Wing and Quake. They were among my tools to test network and graphics. No, the game isn't perfect. It doesn't need to be. What it needs to be is fun. And for millions of us, that's exactly what it is. I thought this was so well said. At the end of the day, games don't have to be absolute perfection. I don't know why it's constantly like people are seeking that. They just need to be fun. And for me, you know, I've just lost so many countless hours in this game, and I'm going to continue to lose even more, and happily so, because it's such a good time. And yeah, I really do enjoy it. Not to say it doesn't have problems. One of my bigger problems with the game is as you get further into it, of course, you start to see some redundant things setting in, like, yes, the redundant mines and related to like bounties and activities like that. I think that that is something that Bethesda should fine tune and update. Yeah, and I think that there's potential that they could easily do that down the road. All right, next up, we have this one right here. This could have been an email is so true for many missions. And it says, there are a lot of missions that require you to go directly speak to someone physically. What a waste of fuel, resources, and time just to have them tell you a couple of sentences and send you to another system and planet. There needs to be some kind of ship comm system debrief room like the Normandy in Mass Effect, which also had a hologram of that person. A huge game like Starfield shouldn't even be padding loading time with such mission designs. I love that idea. Imagine having an entire, like, I suppose you would say conference room on your ship where there could be like a hologram that does appear. That would make life so much easier, and it would make the game a lot more seamless and organic. I would love to see this sort of update in the game. They should definitely consider that, by the way, for expansions. Also, we have this one right here. Does anybody else have the problem of not feeling like they're being shot? This comes from Noob8, who says, literally my only problem with Starfield besides minor opinions about UI is that I never realize I'm being shot at until it's too late. I could be surrounded on all sides, and yet I feel like none of their shots are actually hitting me because there's minimal feedback. The only feedback that I'm taking damage is the blur that sometimes doesn't even happen when you're at like 5% health. I also can't constantly be checking my health because that takes my eyes away from shooting the enemies, and since I use the jetpack during combat, I get confused and mistake the jet fuel for my health. That's gotten me killed at least twice. Now, I will say this, real quick pause. There are some really cool mods that do help you discern from your jetpack and your health bar. And then also some cool mods that actually segment the health bar in like thirds. So there's different colors. So as you reduce in health, it turns yellow. Then you get like the 10% health or what have you. It turns red and starts flashing. That sort of feedback is cool to have. I'll try to remember to throw that mod in the description below, but it's on Nexus Mod and it relates to health. I'm sure you can like search it for yourself. And then it says this: I'll constantly enter a combat encounter at like 25% health because I don't even realize I took damage in the last one. I'll die and be confused on how they dealt so much damage because I was at full health a second ago. Or I'll exit an encounter and start looting and somebody pops out behind me and starts shooting me in the back, and I'll only notice once I turn around. When I die, I don't learn anything because I don't know what went wrong. I don't know if I need to take cover more, flank the enemy, or take pot shots because I can't get the relevant information that being shot at gets me. I don't know if I died because I got outgunned or outdamaged. So yeah, I suppose there needs to be more feedback with this system, and a lot of people agreed with this one that this is annoying. I will say this also: if you are having issues in combat itself, I do recommend do not neglect your aid tools in terms of buffs. Let me tell you what, before you head into combat, always buff yourself. Do not neglect that. I've heard so many people that just kind of forget to do that. So yeah, don't wing it. Really take your time. Now, there was some cool discoveries about this Easter egg right here. It says, why is no one talking about this horrible item? What is it? And if we scroll down here, you've probably seen it around, of course. And we have another image here as well. And it's like a mystery. But we do have an answer. Check it out. It says this: it's a location die. Stargate movie. Daniel Jackson explains finding a fixed point in space. And here's some references right here. Man, I love Stargate. I don't know if you guys have seen that movie. It is a classic, and I wish they would do more with like high quality HBO Stargate TV series. That would be really, really cool. Now, something wild happened to this dude right here, to Randalorian, who says, why is my ship detaching from the eye and attacking UC ships on its own? And here it is right here. He's looking out and you can see his ship detaches and you're like, what is going on? And his ship at least starts attacking UC ships and having a mind of its own. Now, I've also had something very, very cool happen. I boarded an enemy ship, took it over, and then I kind of like decided to, I wouldn't say jump, I traveled to another planet within the system, and my frontier ship that I was not controlling traveled with me as kind of like a companion in space and actively helped me take down some Crimson Fleet. I kid you not. It was so cool. I do have video of it somewhere. I might actually post about this, but I was like, they have like fully developed AI for ship type kind of companions. And I think that will most likely end up, perhaps, this is speculation, as a type of DLC in the future where you can have like companions that take over ships and travel with you. And hopefully there's like bigger, battles in space. That would be neat. All right, so now it's time to go over your top comments. Remember, leave a comment down below. It could end up right here in a future video. So yeah, what was my most recent video? That's the question. So Starfield, yes, it's actually happening. All new updates and the survival game it used to be. So this is cool. Modders are slowly turning Starfield into a No Man's Sky type experience. We saw a really cool mod that showcased seamless travel within the universe, within the galaxy, from planet to planet. It was slow. It's very much work in progress, but this is only the beginning. Yeah, let's get into what you guys had to say about this one. So we have Skull Violator, who says, one thing that I always found silly was landing my ship in front of an enemy outpost and getting out of my ship that is equipped with lasers and missiles and shoot them with the guns I have on me instead of just mowing down the outside enemies, then go inside and handle the rest myself. This mechanic may also make you think twice about stealing ships that land near you. That would be cool, to kind of be more paranoid about what defensive weapon systems they might have on the ship. Yeah, that needs to be a thing for sure. Now, we also have Amira Gel, who says this: when games offer story or survival modes, I usually choose story mode, but try survival once or twice only to become frustrated with it and go back to story mode. However, I like that games give players this choice. So it seems like a lot of you guys are on the fence, perhaps, about fully investing your time in like a survival type mode. However, we do have this comment right here from Max, who says, personally, I'd love to see a hardcore mode put in. As it is, you can take the stock frontier to any part of the galaxy, making helium outposts and modifying your ships to get more range would be welcome in my book. One thing I haven't heard anyone talk about and I would like to have is ship interior customization. Basically, you can either have the pre-built part or start with an empty one where you decide the what and the where. Yes, dude, yeah, kind of like, of course, what you can do with base building. Make it your home away from home, essentially, and even like change the colors of your ship. Dude, that would be an amazing update if they could fully flesh out that sort of customization in the future for ships. I'd love to see that. All right, we have Sonar90, who says this: I do get the feeling that the game was supposed to be a lot more hardcore, but somewhere along the way, they decided to take the safer option and let the community mod in those elements if they wanted them, like in Skyrim. Hopefully, there will be an official release of a survival mode, though. Just like in Skyrim Legendary Edition, would love to see food, fuel, and outposts matter more once the base game content has been explored and exhausted. Yeah, a lot of people upvoted this one, so actually it does seem like you guys do want some sort of survival mode in the game and have those sort of options. Yeah, that would be a cool toggle type thing at the beginning of a new playthrough where you just be like, hey, you know what? I want this to be like a hardcore survival experience. I think a lot of people personally would be very interested in that, and Bethesda should pursue it, you know? I mean, they got the backing of Microsoft now. Why not? That's how I feel about it. But thank you all so much for watching. Keep those comments coming. I definitely do love reading them. Stay tuned for more Starfield news and updates and open world gaming goodness. I have you guys covered, and I will see you all next time. Take care.